Welcome back to the Mood Point Podcast. It's been a while, but we're finally back. If you forgot who I am, I'm Amari.
And I'm Miles.
And we want to apologize for the hiatus. Like, it took us 2 weeks, 3 weeks to post another episode. We've been going through a lot of things.
A little longer than that, but
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, we were trying to work on things.
Yeah, we had a lot going on, honestly. Things were coming up, life's, still moving on, we got other things going on, but we wanted to come back to you guys and, get back on our promise, so that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, we're here to stay for good this time, I promise. We're going to be here, we're going to keep posting, we're going to keep applying pressure just like we see you guys doing, and we'll get things on schedule. So starting off, last Friday, we had some bad news with Chadwick passing away.
Chadwick Boseman, I'm sure everyone knows who he is. Got this nice painting right here.
Yeah, Black Panther.
This is not new, by the way, but it's pretty dope. But he played Black Panther. That's pretty much, the first black superhero, especially in Marvel.
Black Marvel character.
Main character, really, and the movie was great. It addressed real issues and everything, with the community, people feeling like we're not going back to help people in need and in other countries and other areas, but
it's just a sense of unity, like everyone saying Wakanda forever, and we're all together. You saw the pictures. I remember when Black Panther first came out, and everyone from the community was going to see it. Everyone was happy, everyone was taking pictures. It was a big event. It was something that everybody felt like they were involved in, and that's not his first role playing that kind of brought the community together. He played 42 with Jackie Robinson.
He played a lot of firsts because Jackie Robinson, he was the first, first African American to play in the major leagues.
Yeah.
He played Thurgood Marshall, first African American for the Supreme Court. And he played James Brown wasn't really a first, but he's Godfather of Soul. He changed music forever. One of the most simple artists ever, right here from Georgia.
Yeah.
But he played him as well, and James Brown, I wouldn't say he was an activist, but he played important roles in during the civil rights movement. He had a free concert right after Martin Luther King died to kind of calm the city down and calm the people down. So he's well versed in that subject as well. So big roles.
There's some real big roles, and I think what we're trying to do now, obviously, is very sad because he was a black icon. Some people didn't even realize me personally, I saw the movies, but I just didn't put it all together, how his role was so pivotal on the black community. He was talking about some real big black figures. So we're just celebrating his life right now and talking about his accomplishments, and rest in peace to the icon. He'll live on forever through his movies, and I know people posted some of his quotes, things he's saying. He said some very powerful things.
Yeah, along the lines of finding your passion in life, finding purpose rather. Purpose is the word he uses. Finding your purpose in life. What do you think you've been here? What is the reason that you are here? You have to think about that, and that's something that a lot of people never find out, or they might find out and they might not apply it, or might not take that chance and risk it because it's not the safe option, and a lot of times it's not. But it will open up doors and you bless more people than you ever imagined if you can truly find your passion and your purpose. It could take you very far. So.
That's beautiful. That's definitely beautiful. Just putting what you're able to do. That's very beautiful. But yeah, rest in peace to him, and he'll live on. Just like a bunch of icons that passed this year, he'll always live on in our hearts, and his art will always be on display, which is his movies, and we'll always look at those and remember him in some way. So. Going on to some news that I'm pretty sure you guys heard about, but we just kind of want to talk about it just briefly. Jacob Blake, in that situation, he was paralyzed by a police officer. He was shot 7 times, I believe. The police were called because he was settling a domestic dispute between 2 women, and he was walking around to his car. From the video, from what I've seen, he was walking in his car. The police was holding his shirt, and he went in the car and it shot him 7 times.
Yeah, it was a back-to-back thing. As soon as he walked around, they was telling him to stop, and he walked around his car and he opened the car door, and like you said, they was already on his curtail. They grabbed his shirt as soon as they, boom, they shot him 7 times.
Yeah, and then there was reports.
Kids were in the car as well.
Which is all this stuff is terrible, but it's just we keep hearing these things over and over again, and it's just it's just bad. It's just bad, and it's bad, and it gets worse and worse and worse in every situation. Like every scenario is different, but it's just as bad. Like just the fact that, you know, he was shot 7 times. Like you said, they already had the shirt. Like they already had him kind of down there. And then on top of that, one of the reports was saying that he didn't have any weapons in the car.
Yeah,
so
and then someone said that, I mean, there was a knife in the car. That's what they're saying now, that there's a knife in the car. But the thing is, like, I mean, it was multiple cops, and if he had the knife, they were right there, so it's not like he could really die any damage. The thing is, in all these cases, their life is not in danger at all. So like,
that's why I say it's bad. It's like every time I hear or see these videos, it's like people are getting desensitized. But I feel like me personally, I'm not. Like it's upsetting every time I see it, just because like every situation is new. It's the same thing occurring, but it's a new situation. Like, for example, like the fact that number one, he was shot 7 times. Thank God that he's still alive, but he's paralyzed. And on top of that, like his kids saw that. Like his kids would never, like, may never forget that. Like watching your father getting shot and like laying out on the car, like just laying out on the wheel, the steering wheel. Yeah. It's just sad. And then the fact that like they had him handcuffed and he's paralyzed, which some people say, yeah, that's something that police officers do in the hospital for certain people that are like getting detained for some reason. But like the man is paralyzed, and on top of that, you shot him, and that's not that wasn't justified.
I shouldn't have got to that point. And I had people try to argue with me, well, like, you know what to do, like when the cop tells you what to do, like, you know you don't get the freedom. But that's the whole issue here. Like, we seen a white 17-year-old walking around with an AK after he's already shot and killed people, and he gets handled like a baby, like a newborn. But you handle black people just way different, minorities just way different, and that's the issue. Like, well, you should listen to the cop. You know, I heard people say you should listen to the cop. You know, we don't have the same rights that we do. But it's like, I mean, I don't even know how people see it that way. Like, obviously, like, you know, our parents tell you to comply, but it's like, you're not gonna do everything they say at all times, and that doesn't mean that's not justification. Like, just because you give a reason for something doesn't mean like that justifies that it happened. So I don't know. I kind of get annoyed with that, and to you talking about being desensitized, it's like, man, it's hard. Like I remember I made that post like when I first found out about Ahmaud Arbery. I'm like, are y'all desensitized yet? Like I literally asked that on Instagram, and it's like we shouldn't be seeing this. Like this is like unusual. Like no one looks this, like no one has this coming across their face, like seeing people die that look just like them, and like it's so reoccurring. You probably seen it, like if I could put a number on it, I've probably seen like 30 people get shot, like from videos and stuff, and that's like, I mean, that's crazy to imagine. Like, would you put it in a number and like, wow, I've seen 30 people. Like back in the day, you wouldn't have seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't have seen it. And like, I mean, it's just a different kind of like, I feel like trauma, and it's like, it's hard to be pissed off all the time, because it's like, you just start thinking irrational, like, you know, when you get like emotionally riled up, you know, and it's like, it's hard. Like, I don't want to be desensitized to it, but it's like, I hate being in I hate being in a certain space, like, where I just feel pissed off, because then I'm looking at everybody, you know, I'm different. Like, I'm not judging people by like their character and stuff. Like, I mean, it's hard to do, but I mean, that's. I don't know how you cope with it. I don't know how you cope with it.
See, so like, this is where we're at. We're in a situation right now, just to be completely honest, because like on this podcast, we're gonna be completely like blunt and straightforward. Like, this is where we're at. We're at a situation where like our people are getting killed in the community for basically no reason. For situations that they want to justify, say, oh, criminal record, or they want to say they was doing this, or they should have done that. But the point blank period is like, we're getting killed and people are getting hurt. And we're in a situation where like we don't know like what we can do. Like, we keep protesting, marching, and so like
none of the change to stop that very thing will be immediate. Like, so it's like we're just continuing to suffer, and we're trying to figure out how to cope. Yeah, definitely. And it's like, it's difficult to cope with that. Like, I mean, because it's like at least once a week now you're seeing this. I mean, I forgot the statistics, but I mean, so many people have been killed just since George Floyd has died, and it's like another one like Daniel Prue. Like, we saw that, like, just the videos resurfacing. It's like, how are these videos coming out later and then when they happen, and it's just like, as soon as you think, you know, you're relaxing, like you're out of that enraged state, the boom, it's like something else. It's like constantly, and it's difficult to deal with.
And then yeah, you bring up the Daniel Prue, which I mean we could explain real quick. Like what happened was like basically like he was naked, and from the reports that I read, I think his brother, I believe, called police for him because he felt like something was going on with him, like mentally. And they called the police. He was running around naked. It was reported that he was like hitting windows and stuff. But the police officers came and they gave him orders. He followed all the orders. Obviously the situation was a little crazy because he didn't have clothes on and stuff, and like that's already something odd that may be going on.
Yeah, but that just 100% confirms that. Like I don't have a weapon, like or I'm not no threat.
Yeah, but even then, yeah, it's like if you follow every order, like from the video that he was laying down, they told him to move his arms to his back, move his arm to his back. They cuffed him. Then he was spitting. So obviously, like,
I mean,
obviously, if you're a police officer and you see someone doing these things, like you see them running around naked. You see them making noises or like saying things that you may not be able to comprehend, or like spitting and stuff. Like there's something maybe mentally, like you were called to help in a situation that had to do with that. So when you see it, you don't react in that manner. Yeah. They put a bag over his head, which they said is they do that with everyone.
Because you're police, like it's not just a regular job. It's not a regular like, just go check in, like deal with people. It's not McDonald's, like. Oh my goodness! Like,
there's nothing wrong with anybody working at McDonald's, by the way.
No, I'm just saying, like, you get spit on at McDonald's, or I mean, any other job, like what? But like, you're arresting people, and I'm pretty sure everyone doesn't comply. But from what we saw, he was complying, and it's like, even if that was happening, like, this is never justified. Like, if you want to nitpick, and people always want to find reasons, but I say people have reasons. You can always look at things from a different lens or a different viewpoint, but like. That doesn't justify and make it morally right. Like I don't understand how you can morally just justify it. Like you can say any little reason you want, but like
it's lazy.
It's not.
It's lazy. I mean, it's lazy. They don't want to deal. They don't want to deal with it. You have to see to do that. You have to like mentally sit there and problem solve. You ever say, okay, like I came here for this. This is what I was told, because he was told the situation already. Like so they knew what was going on. So the fact that he was spitting and stuff, I understand they said they have like a spit bag and like the coronavirus, they're afraid of getting it, so they put the bag over his head. But even that is just inhumane, period. Point blank. And on top of that, you gonna shove his head to the ground where he probably can't breathe, he's screaming and stuff. Like those are like, there's no way as an officer you say, all right, like I'm doing the right thing. Like he had handcuffs on, handcuffs.
And the thing is like, how much spit could you possibly have? Like, they're probably like, that's why I don't believe anything they're saying. Like, how much spit could he possibly have? How far could he possibly spit in? How could he really be spitting in your face? And that's like I don't even believe that was happening. Like I just believe they just took it there. I mean, it's like they do sometimes. They just take it there. Like, I don't even believe. I honestly don't believe that. Like, and even if that happened, like that's like this is part of your job. Like, but that's not like it's just they go from 0 to 1,000. For nothing, like every time.
Because you already know, and then they're trying to find a way to justify it. Like, for example, Jacob Blake, like you said, oh, like he had a knife, or they'll say, oh, he had a past criminal record, or he looked this way, or he was doing that. Like it's always excuses. But even if he was spitting and doing all those things, like does that cost? Like the spit cost a life? Like are those two things like synonymous? Right. Like me spitting on you, should that mean that you kill me? Like, shouldn't you have some form of restraint? Shouldn't you have some form of knowledge of knowing how to problem solve and how to solve a situation as if you're an authority figure? That's the issue with all this. Right. The fact that, like, it's continuously happening, and, yeah, they come up with different reasons, but I'm pretty sure, just like you mentioned with the, if it was, a white person or white people were able to do other things and get away, we have to follow a certain protocol so that we can stay alive. I think you mentioned someone going to the protest. I believe you mentioned that. His name was Kyle.
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah. He was, and he came to the protest. That was for Jacob Blake. It was in
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Wisconsin. It probably wasn't directly.
It was in the same. It was in the same area. City, yeah. So they were having that, and he walked in. Like in the protest, had a gun, shot at people.
Mom dropped him off. She drive from a different location. One location they drive. He, got into an altercation and saying that he wrestled a couple civilians wrestled him, trying to, what you doing, dude? Why do you have that gun? Da da da. So they was, wrestling, and the gun went off. He shot a couple people. He went home, got to gather himself, walked away, got to gather himself, and that's happened multiple times too.
At these protests, have you ever been to a protest that doesn't have police officers?
Yeah, I think I have.
You have?
Well,
not often though.
You're right.
Yeah, so they have some form of officer, because any unrest in the city, police officers are gonna be called.
Yeah,
whether
it depends how
whether it's
the process, but that was a big one. So
it's like all the big ones that we have police officers. I mean, the ones that we went to, there's police officers waiting on the side to make sure that we don't close off certain roads. So you telling me
they're always there, just not at every single point, but yeah.
Yeah, so you telling me that he came in there, he had a gun, and he used it. I believe the reports that he used it, and
no, there's no reports. He killed people.
Yeah, yes, he used the gun, and nothing happened to him there, and he was able to go home.
Yeah, go home. Black people don't get to make it home. He went home after killing someone. Black people don't get to make it home because they killed.
Black people came and jog without being bothered.
And that's crazy, and that's like we were saying earlier, it's hard. This reality that we have to face, the change of that, stopping the police brutality, it's going to take some time, and it's hard pill to swallow that there will be more instances before this will change, and it's we're doing things trying to progress it, the NBA, they stopped playing for a few days, and the owners are wealthy, so they have connects and they know different people, so they was trying to, I think the Milwaukee Bucks was supposed to hold a meeting with someone regarding laws and stuff, and it's progress, and that's kind of how we have to take this. We got to kind of take it as progress. I heard Jalen Rose on ESPN. He was saying it field possession. You're trying to get field possession. You're just trying to progress and get the ground line. It's not going to be a touchdown. It's not going to be a home run. It's not going to be a home run instantly. It's I guess something like a grind out. So
it's just really hard. It's really hard.
But that's hard to do and hard to take. And it's I guess kind of the direction we want to go. With the podcast is okay, what else can we do? While we're still fighting for those, for those issues, what else can we do in the community? How can we better ourselves? What can we learn about ourselves? How can we be better to each other? And that's kind of the direction I feel that we want to go with the podcast, talking about, the community and strengthening the community and strengthening the bond.
Yeah.
So.
Because we're gonna post these, on the story, some of these, just so you can read more about it and you can figure out ways. Because we're all trying to figure it out. It's just, obviously, you can see from our tones, how we're talking about this, it's pretty tiring. We would love to hop on this podcast and talk about things that are positive and things that are happening, which there are, but we can't talk about that if these things are still happening. People's lives are being lost, and it's a lot of unrest everywhere. But it's like you said, that's a good point. It's not gonna happen. We have to not be okay with it or even accept it, that it's not changing as fast as we want, but we have to understand that that's how things are going to be. It's a lot, we're going back and we're changing a lot from the past.
And there's so much freedom in the United States. You can have 30 states change certain rules, and you still have 20 states doing whatever they want to do. The U.S. is a lot of freedom.
People still ain't feeling it.
Yeah, the U.S. is big, and it's compared to Europe, some of these states could be countries and stuff. Honestly, so they're governed so differently, and it's we have to. That's what we want to do, man. We want to continue to fight, for the issues that are going on that all of us hopefully don't experience, but have the opportunity to experience. But we want to focus on ourselves, in our community, like I said earlier, just strengthening that community, strengthening yourself, being able to push on, learning how to cope with certain things, depending on, having friends, strengthening relationships, just having pride, things of that nature, building trust, respect back in the community. Because some of these things are lacking, and while we're gonna be fighting for that, we're gonna be fighting for that. That's what we have to do as minorities and Black people. But we've proven in history that we're strong people. So we just gotta continue battling. Our ancestors went through some stuff, and grandparents went through some stuff. We all had different battles, and we're here today. Y'all listening, we're here talking, and that's because of the sacrifices they made, and the commitment to doing things the right way, and you can't do anything alone, and that's what we gotta realize, and we gotta
you know, build strong bonds type of community. I know we have, you know, our problems and issues, but you know, we cut some of those out. So
Yeah.
we're here to talk about that now. So I guess we can
Yeah.
move
So
right along.
yeah. So also something else that I'm gonna discuss just briefly, but I'm probably gonna post it on the page because it's something for I want you guys to look into. It's called Project 1619. So we're gonna post it on the page. You take a look at that. We're gonna post some of these things on the page just so we can read about it, and so we all could have some knowledge like what's going on in this world. Because sometimes we get distracted. It's like we talked about in our first podcast. Like we get distracted. All the things that is going on, new music, new trends, new things going on, TikToks, all these things. But we need to make sure that we don't have to think about it every single day. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna think about it every day, but we just need to find. Still keep it in our minds so that we know that, we're representing our people and we're trying to make some change. So just look out for that. So speaking of the thing with Peru, it made us kind of think about like the perception and how people just see mental health just in general with people. Like mental health is a very taboo topic, especially in our community. I know me personally, I didn't learn about like what depression, anxiety, all these things were until my junior year of college. Like I had no idea what those things were. Like I had no idea what being depressed was. I understood that people would say, "Oh, I'm sad," or these things, but I didn't know about the disorders. I didn't know what feeling anxious was. I knew what being anxious was, but I didn't know what anxiety was. Like these are things that should be discussed. That wasn't. So I wasn't aware of that until then. So that kind of showed me, and it made me think why we see see mental health like that. Like why we see it as something that's not important when we talk about nutrition, fitness, things that actually are important for our bodies, because internally make sure we stay healthy. Like our minds, why don't we talk about it or figure out ways to bring that up in topics so that we can work on that and to have some open dialogue about how we can help each other with, that may be struggling with these things or that may not be as knowledgeable as they should be about these things, because if you know more about it, then you're able to find a way to fix it. So
yeah, I think like I can kind of answer what you're saying. Like, I mean, even with the health point, like eating certain foods, like I have grandparents or great uncles or just older people in my family. I eat a whole bunch of different things. Like I'm always trying something new, and they be like, "How you eating that?" And they be so scared to eat that, or they scared to change their diet. And it's like, I mean, this can be beneficial to you, but they still want to eat the same old stuff. Like, like I mean, I got an uncle, I love him, man, and he eating the bologna sandwiches and like
stuck in the ways.
Yeah, and it's like stuck in their ways. But I just think like as a people, like we had to survive, so like it was just about survival. Like it wasn't like about like thriving in certain instances. Like you had to get through, like because it was like the reins were so tight and like you couldn't do too much. You didn't have that many opportunities back then. Like it was certain things that you weren't even introduced to. Like I mean, so it's like they didn't have these many options. Like they didn't have such access to information. They might not have had all the access to like I guess like the different type of variety of foods and stuff we had. So it's like stuff they're not accustomed to. And I feel like the people were just so used to like getting through like and to bring this back to mental health. I feel like back in the days, like they didn't feel like they could even take some time off, and
yeah, just focus on surviving versus thriving. Because
when you focusing on just surviving and getting through, you know what I'm saying? It's like you don't really get to do certain things. Like you might not even get to relax or anything. So if you don't even really get to relax like that, or like you don't have that much time to relax, you're definitely not going to like want to go in depth about that, especially about something you don't know. So
yeah, especially like I see what you're saying, but also like even if we feel as if like we can't change the situation. Like for certain people, like they have the resources, they have the things to go out and actually change it. Like they have therapists they can trust. They have like they feel comfortable in that. It's something that's like brought up in the community. That's something that's like thought about. Like, hey, you're struggling with this. Like I know somebody you can go to. Like let's do that. We don't have like some communities don't have the ability to do that. So because of that, those waves are going to keep recycling until something changes in that community.
But like for some reason, I feel like the reason it's on us is because our generation, like, we were raised by that generation. That was like, man, we don't have time to, you know, like, we're not worried about the mental health. We're just trying to get through. Like, we're trying to figure things out. Like, they had issues, like, you know, I mean, 60s, 70s, you know, they was fighting segregation. You know, they didn't have opportunities to go get certain degrees and stuff.
And also those things could be the cause of how we are generationally, like our thought process, like that suffrage, all the oppression, like that can lead to some of the things, like some of these disorders, like depression, anxiety. Like, I know we talk about PTSD in certain communities. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, you know,
honestly, I feel like that's the number one thing in, like, Black communities. Like, I don't know,
I mean, depression, anxiety, and
I mean,
PTSD.
Just me personally, I don't know if people even realize that they have it, or like certain things, and like, or living in certain locations, like certain cities where, like, you know, a lot of deaths happen, a lot of shootings, or, you know, just being in a poor state, or like you're not getting an opportunity to do things. Because I mean, in cities, everything's around you, and it's like, I feel like it's certain areas that are poor, but it's like you can see rich areas right there, and you can get to them right there. Like, it's not spread out as a suburbs. You can see this, like, you can see skyscrapers and stuff, people working there, and like you having little to nothing, and you seeing people all around you. And I know that takes a toll on you. So
you talk about just seeing how you see, like,
other people are
how
living,
good, how good it could be, and then versus like where you are.
Yeah,
it's just like a reminder of like how things are like pushed against us, like how like we're against the wall versus other people, and there's nothing much different besides like the color of our skin.
But I mean, luckily, I mean, I feel like this is like internet. Like, I feel like that's the greatest invention ever, besides like a wheel or a car. Like, I mean, it has downfalls. I know we get into it all the time about the internet. Like, I mean, distraction.
Like, I mean, I don't know,
but I mean, like, the access to information is there, and it's like, if you can train yourself to focus on certain things, and like, as a community, I see a lot of positivity going on, like more.
No, but even then, you have to know what to look for. Yeah. So if we're speaking about generations, and we're saying, hey, we know that this is passed down to generation, like this whole idea about mental health, like just avoiding it altogether. Like, people say, like, don't, like, I know, for example, excuse my language, but they're like, stop being a bitch. Like, that's what they tell you when, like, you know, you're being sad about something, or like you feel down about something. Those are things that are like said within the community. I'm not sure if every community does it, but I know in certain groups I've seen that happen. And so if that's passed down, I mean, like, how will we know what to search for if we don't know the proper way to do it? You know what I'm saying?
What do we
so like
search for?
All right, so like, aside from the internet, you said there's ways to access information, but we have to know what to access. So we have to have
like what to like type in or what to search.
Yeah, because like you can search anything up, and like the same way, like we can see like all these negative things, like they're gonna, like, things are gonna resurface that they want to surface.
Right. I mean, it's like certain pages you can follow. Like, they have like psychology pages, you know, and psychologists with pages, or like people with mental health advocates in pages, and like you can scroll through. I don't know if you have, like, maybe in school, and like, I know when I went to school, like, you had opportunities to go get therapy. Like, that was part of the fee bill. I mean, it should be so high, but yeah, it was part of the fee bill. Like, you can go see therapists. I mean, I know a few people that actually started going to therapy in college. You know, so they got introduced that way, or you like, you know, just talking about it with your friends. And like, personally, me, I feel like friendships, like, they're very therapeutic to me. Like, and I feel like you having true friends, and you be able to talk about certain things, get certain things off your chest, or like, and saying things out loud, or you talking to a friend, is like, it's different.
It's therapeutic.
Than just thinking, like, thinking it. Like, you find different solutions when you say things out loud, and I feel like that's why I'm so big on friends. Like,
I mean collaboration, like collaboration between you and other people, like, it's important, because like people think differently than you, so you can be thinking one way and have like this perspective. You like you could be stuck in a situation. You're like, well, I only see it this way, and I feel like there's no way out of this. Talk to somebody else, like I talk to you and be like this is what's going on, and then slowly but surely, like, you're gonna put your perspective in it, and then we start unraveling like a good solution. Like, you come together. So I mean, I agree with that, but I also feel like, I know we talked about this earlier. Like, I feel like it's important. Like, the same way people go to the doctor every year, I feel like it is important to have a therapist that you go to, one that you could trust in because you don't only go to the therapist just, in my opinion, you don't go to the therapist just because like something is seriously wrong. That's usually when people go, but I feel like you should go to prevent from things happening.
Okay. So, since you're saying that, do you think, okay, you're supposed to go to the dentist 6 months. Like,
Yeah.
What do you think, like, should be a little FDA recommendation?
So like, I mean,
like,
we could do, okay.
Cause that's just like generally for everybody. Like, I don't know if people go more. I mean, I'm sure people with braces and stuff might go.
But that comes down to what?
More.
What
I'm
you
sure people don't go at all. But.
Yeah, I feel like it would depend on, cause like with health, like some people go to the doctor once a year because like, you know, they're able to maintain their health. Some people have to go every 6 months, every 5 months. So I think it would depend on like your mental strength in that moment. But I guess the goal with that was, the goal with that would be that after you start going, like you become so mentally strong that you have to you be able to go like once a year and be okay.
Right.
But everybody has situations like we all go through things, like all of us.
But that's what I
all
was
the
saying.
time.
Like,
So
if you
like,
go ballpark, generally, do you
so
think like what would be like just like a bare minimum? Like they say you should go every 6 months. Like, I
So
mean,
you should
there's
go
no right
probably-
answer to this.
you should
but
probably go like once. I mean, me, I'd go once a month.
once a month.
Me personally, just because I know how many things can happen. Like your whole life can change in a month. Like everything can change in a month.
So you think? So I go once a month for like what time period? Like probably 6 months, 9 months, or something, just to see, and then I should get further evaluated, like to see how.
No, you shouldn't get evaluated because I mean, like
you
I
see how you
said,
feel
for
about
me,
it.
I mean, for me, you know, I'm saying like more so for like prevention of things escalating to a point where then we have to talk every week, you know, because I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that because some people do that, and I mean, if you need that, that's encouraged because it's good to go to therapy because these are professionals that like are dedicated and like they're kind of more knowledgeable on like how to handle certain situations through theory and other things, which that's just a lot more jumbo, but like they're trained for this. So sometimes we can talk to our friends and like they'll give us some advice, but it's always good to talk to, you know, a therapist. So I mean, I feel as if we won't have to go there to say, okay, like this was wrong with me. You go there just to say, hey, like today, like this week was like this, and I experienced this. Like, how can I handle it? Or like, did I handle this correctly? Or how can I mentally process like what's going on right now? Like kind of like that to avoid it, because some people, as you know, some people like just hold it in or they just brush it aside, and then next thing you know, a month later, it keeps escalating.
So
gets bigger.
therapists are like they're diagnosing, like that's their main purpose, to like diagnose like what's going on. Like you might not be able to put into terms, and that like kind of.
I mean, they could. I mean, they could do that. I mean, that's part. I mean, obviously, that's, you know, part of what they do. Especially like mental health advocates, like that's part of what they do. But I also feel as if like, you know, prevention is a thing. From what I've been taught, because right now I'm in school to be a psychologist. Like what I'm being taught with prevention is insurances don't pay for that, so they don't do it often. But in my opinion, that should be like one of the most important things, prevention, because you want to build people up so that, you know, they're able to handle these moments, so that they don't have to be at a point where, you know, they're really down and they have to go to see a therapist all the time, or they feel like they can't handle it on their own. Because you want to help people be as self-sufficient as possible.
So yeah, I was just wondering, kind of like, you think they're more of like diagnosing things that's going on that you don't quite understand the reason, or like giving solutions, like if that's something like an ask, like,
So I mean, it
one is
depends. It
more,
depends.
you think, like,
I feel like
which one do you think they do, like they aim to do more?
it depends on the therapist. I would think, you know, I mean, like people are different. So you talk to, like, the same way, like you talk to some people and they're problem solvers. Other people are like, oh, just get over it type stuff. I'm not saying therapists are like that, but it's saying that people are different. So like some people may be sitting there like some people it's a job. Like, let's be real. Like some therapists, like they see it as a job. Like they're good at it. They come. They say like, this is what I see. Like this is what you need to do. By boom, by bing, that's it. But some people, like they're more caring and more empathetic towards you, which are usually the ones that people gravitate towards. And those therapists are more focused on like helping you find the solution. You know, helping you like, because the solution, in my opinion, what I believe is the solution is always within us. It just takes some time to unravel it and like uncover it. And so I feel like some therapists are focused on that. So it all depends. Like I feel like it all depends.
Going on what you said, like the solution in us, and that's why like I'm not against therapy by any means, and I believe people should get it. But I remember the first time I tried to go. I think it was freshman year in college. Yeah, I tried to go, and I went there, and I was just like, I'm not finna tell him anything. Like, and I mean, we was talking, like we was having a conversation, but like really like get there, and obviously, I mean, I was thinking this at the time, but like it's my first time, so obviously I'm not finna just like, I mean, that's not the type of person I am. Like my first session, but I don't know, I'm kind of stubborn. I was thinking like, man, I'm not gonna be able to tell him anything, so it's like he's not gonna be able to help. Just like when you go to the doctor, if you go to the doctor and they like, what's wrong, and you really give them a vague description, and you're not saying nothing. Like, I mean, they're not magicians, wizards. They can't figure it out. So you have to be like, you have to be open.
Exactly.
For it to work.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like, that's why I'm big. I mean, this is the type of person I am. Like, I mean, I'm good with my friends. Like, I can open up and I feel like I can say anything. Like, and it's like good to have people in your corner that I feel like don't pass judgment like on you. Like, and so you can trust them to talk about certain things. Like, you might just say things, slip up. You don't have to like sit down, and it won't be like such a structured environment. You won't be like anxious. I mean, that's, you know.
I think it's twofold. It's twofold. So like you said, like it's our job, maybe our job. It's just something that we need to work on.
I just feel like that's it's being more open. Community, like
it's being more open toward the therapy, but it's also the therapist's job to make us feel comfortable. So, excuse me. So if you come there and like you're like, okay, like it's a new experience, like let me see what it's about, and therapist is giving you like vibes that you're not feeling, like then maybe he's not for you, and that's fine because like I said, people like therapists are people, so everyone's different. So because you gotta find the one that best suits you. So it is twofold. I feel like we do need to be more open, but also we need more Black mental health advocates, psychologists, psychiatrists, because they would feel more comfortable, because it's called representation. That's something that, you know, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that means, but it's just like having
representation. That was the big deal about him, what he represented.
Exactly. It's like in our community, we need people. It's like we said, I think in our first podcast, like we need people in those positions so that we can feel comfortable there. So I think, you know, the point I was going with that is like we need more of that to feel more comfortable. But you know, in the meantime, because people are doing it, I see people on Instagram doing it. I see a lot of people becoming like a lot of celebrities talking about it. So it's becoming a thing. But until then, we need to find a way to become more open to everything and accept it.
So until like people are like, I know everyone's not gonna go. Some people are not gonna go. Some people are. Well, first of all, I think you should support your friends. Like if they're going, like you definitely should support that. Like I don't know how close y'all are, so I don't know like what they'll tell you what's going on. I don't know how confidential the information they're sharing, but it's like, I mean, just support your friends if they're going to therapy. I think it's good to, you know, just check in. Like we just have to check in on each other, because I'm kind of like trying to figure out like how we can do better as a community. Supporting your mental health. So like, okay, like just putting the therapist aside for a second. Like, how do we want to do this as a community thing? Like whether it's like talking to your parents, like being open with your parents who don't really talk about it. Because I mean, my parents don't really talk about it. They know about it, but it's like, I mean, it's bigger in our generation, like obviously, but like, I mean, they don't talk too much about it. And you know, I went into detail probably why earlier, like with them just having to put things to the side. But like, how do you think we should like work in the community on that, like building each other's mental health? I know you was talking about being kind or like anything. All right, like, so not necessarily that, but so that goes a long way.
So before you answer that, I think Chad. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I gotta search and find.
Alright, cool. So yeah, basically, I mean, I do think like what you were saying earlier. That is a good point. Like to have like, you know, also therapy is very expensive. That's another issue with that. Like it is very expensive. So I guess, you know, if people
you say you can't afford it or you're just not comfortable yet, like what do you think like ways we can cope as a community together to build each other to go and getting more knowledge about it, or just becoming like, I guess, more comfortable with yourself? Like,
so I'm gonna come up with a few things off the top. So mind me if I pause for a second. The first thing, we gotta become more knowledgeable. So like you said, we have everything on our fingertips, something we need to speak about. like something we spoke about earlier, we have everything on our fingertips, so we need to search things up. Like if we suspect that we're confused about something, or that something is happening that we're unaware of, we can easily just type it up and learn about it. Check your sources, make sure like what you're learning about it is somewhat valid or correct, and like you just keep building off of that, so that when you experience someone that maybe, you know, having some issues or having some things that's going on, you're able to, like, you know how to handle it, you know how to talk to them, you know how to help them in situations. And also you can help yourself, because the more knowledgeable you get, the more self-sufficient you are, the more awareness you have of like what's going on around you. That's one. Two, community. Having a community. A lot of people, you know, I know like we a generation that like we like moving like by ourselves, and like it's all about us type deal, but like we need people in our life. Like we need friends, family, like we need that. I know me personally, like I need that. Like I need people in my life. So I'm grateful to have Miles here. I got some other friends that like I can talk to at any time, even if it's very difficult. Cause usually those difficult conversations are like worth having. I know you said that before. If it's difficult, it's worth having.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like if you're struggling with something and you feel like you can't handle it, like you don't know what's going on or you don't know how to solve it, it's always good to collab with somebody or just hit somebody up or say like, hey, like, you know, this is what's going on. I don't know how to handle this, or like, what do you think about it? And then you can sit there and like y'all just talk about it. And sometimes releasing that energy helps you feel better.
Have those difficult conversations, man. You got to have them.
Yeah.
You got to have them. Like,
yeah.
I know it's difficult, but it's like once you get through that threshold of just talking, like you just gonna let things out. You ain't even gonna know you had it in you. You just gonna like it's the burden off your shoulder, like saying some things like, dang, I can really open up, tell this person this, and like depending on the response, y'all start opening up about more things, you know.
Yeah.
That can potentially happen. So
yeah, and I guess a final thing, because you know I probably know more, but right now it's off the top. The final thing I would think was to learn how to manage it. So there are things you can do, like meditating is one, having some hobbies, all those things are good.
exercising is good too.
Yeah, exercising is good. Eating well, like taking care of yourself, having like trying to instill positive thoughts.
Yeah, diet is very important. It plays a role in your mental health too, and it helps. I mean, it's something I meant to bring up earlier. You know, with Chadwick passing away because he died from colon cancer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just getting checkups or like just eating foods that clean out your, you know, colon, more veggies and stuff, like more fiber in your diet. Like, I mean, just something we have to be more attentive to. Like we're in like, I feel like we're in this self-care era, like with the information we have, like we didn't have access to, like, and like, I mean, certain people, like, I can imagine like trying to go to the library and trying to find stuff out, like just about anything. Like,
yeah, that's difficult.
Like I can't even imagine doing that right now. Like, could you really imagine like anything like you wanted to find out? Cause like what else could you do? Like there was nothing you had to read about it unless someone told you and they read about it. That was the only way to get information. So I mean, yeah, we need to get back into reading books. I'm supposed to read some books this year. I'm trying
read
to get
books.
on it.
Read some books.
Read is fundamental though.
Yeah,
It really is. So
yeah, read those books for real, because those books, like the stuff in those books, like you'll be surprised.
they got books for like, you know, psychologists write books or mental health people write books. So you don't always have to like go to the Instagram page. Like, I mean, don't be afraid to pick up a book. Like, man, just do your thing. Like, order it to Amazon. Like, you're scared to go to Barnes and Nobles. People not gonna know what you order, man. You can do it secretly or get an e-book, but it's nothing to be ashamed of.
And also, just to briefly explain this, because I don't want to go too deep into it, but the things that people go through, we all go through. So we all get depressed. We all get anxious. We all get paranoid at times. We all get like kind of spooked, you know, like with PTSD, not on that level, but we all experience these things. Now, the only difference between that and something that you consider like a mental disorder or whatever is the magnitude of it. So, for example, I can get depressed and be sad about something that happened, but there can be somebody that's experiencing depression, the same feeling, but they have it for a longer period of time, and even at times for reasons that they may not understand. So we all experience these things. So like for us to look at somebody else and say, hey, like there's something wrong with that person, like no, like we all experience these things. It's just the magnitude and the longevity of it, and like all those things play a factor into it. And we also go through like a lot of things in life, like different triggers cause you to, you know, develop different things, like like someone in your family could pass, and that can make you depressed, and like that can cause you to get depression. Like those are things that there's a difference between being depressed and being clinically depressed. Like feeling depressed and actually being depressed, there's a difference. So there's no reason to look down on, like, I'm just saying that because you were saying that if you're ashamed or anything like this, there's no reason to be ashamed. Like it's good to learn about these things. Like it's very good. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess kind of partially answer my question, like things we can do, like positive affirmations. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I always knew I had some anxiety in high school. Like I knew about it. I was just looking into stuff because I just like researching stuff. Honestly, wasn't really doing the homework, so I just Google and make my own homework up, whatever. Just Googling anxiety and stuff, just trying to figure out why I felt certain ways in certain instances. But like, what really like lit the flame, like I had a person on Snapchat and they was always posting some positive affirmations. I was like, well, that's pretty cool. Like, just to see that, like somebody, shining your light. So I mean, don't be afraid or ashamed to be positive. Like positivity goes a long way. I mean, be genuine about it too, though. Don't just be doing it just cause. But I mean, it'll brighten your day too. Like seeing, like you don't even have to know that you're changing somebody's life, but I mean, you definitely could. Like I've seen people post things, and I'm like, dang, like I got to screenshot that. And like, I mean, I don't let them know that, but I mean, something I do. Yeah, I mean, like,
and that's good. And like shout out to everyone. People before us that are paving the way for that. So I mean, I know we're saying like our community, like we're kind of like still working on getting things better with mental health, but I do feel like we came a long way, because the fact that we're talking about it right now, like somebody motivated me, somebody motivated Miles to learn about these things. So now we're here to talk to you guys to possibly motivate y'all if you're not already motivated. So this is a thing that's like, it's in the incline. Like it's very important. Like I feel like we should put mental health in the same level as physical health, like physical like body. Yeah. So I feel like those two things should go hand in hand.
And one last thing, really, like I'm big, like I guess I'm hard on myself, but like, I mean, you gotta dig deep. You gotta think about some things too, because like you after your therapy session, or like you still have the problem. Like you still have to live the life, and like the therapist is not gonna walk with you. And I feel like that's a big part of it. Like learning yourself, learning about who you are, like thinking about what you really are, like who you value. Like I'm big into that.
Introspection.
Yeah, introspection.
Like,
it's very important. Yeah. It's very important. Like I don't know, it's just something that you must do. And the thing you gotta realize, like you'll never. I mean, no one's perfect. And you always have different like life changes, so you have to change, change with it. Circumstances change, so you have to change with it. I mean, like it's a continual process. Like you'll never follow a solution, like get all the answers, but you will feel a world a lot better knowing, like when you get to really know yourself. And I feel like that's something we gotta, do as a community. So that's another thing I believe in.
Yeah. So definitely look into those things. We may post a few things that also talk about like mental health, like just to get you guys started. I mean, we all in this together. Like we're also like, I'm still learning, and I'm in school, and I'm still learning about it. I'm still experiencing it. He's still learning. Like, just every day get some more knowledge. Like you said, maybe grab a book, look it up online, and just try to become more knowledgeable about it. And maybe in time, like our community will be more accepting of it. Like I feel like we're getting there. Like we're almost there, but take the final steps, to get there.
I mean, again, nothing happens overnight.
Yeah, like we said earlier, like it's gonna take time for everything.
Process. Like we're gonna get there. Like this perhaps happened faster than other subject we was talking about. So,
yeah, but like let's not stay stagnant.
Yeah,
let's move forward.
Action is everything.
Yeah,
knowledge. I mean, action without knowledge. I'm sure they got quotes on it. I wish I knew it on top of my head, but it's really nothing though. Because you can know all these things, but if you're not applying it, like. What good is it? If you're not sharing it, like what good is it?
Yeah,
teach was taught, man. Teach was taught.
That's how we build the community.
So like we were saying for these, like I guess kind of some of the changes we made was like we wanted to talk about real stuff going on in our communities, like certain solutions, or like just having dialogue, like we mentioned in other videos. We want to have dialogue about like real issues and things that we can change and fix, like with ourselves or in the community. Like, with certain laws and stuff we want to change, but like we can change as far as respecting each other, respecting ourselves, uplifting each other, things of that nature, having more pride, respect, just
some things like we look to touch on in these later episodes. So I'm just kind of giving you a preview on the direction we're going to.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about these things, and like if you guys have, because we're gonna keep saying this until like we start getting some people to like give us
Comments,
some feedback. Yeah. So like definitely leave us comments and stuff, because these topics are broad, but we can talk about anything that has to do with any issue you feel is in the community that needs to be discussed. Like we're not afraid to talk about
Or
anything.
issue or something you think we're good at, you know, but there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
It could be anything. But
Because that's what we're here for. Like we're here to make change. Obviously, there's some things going on with police officers and the killings and stuff. But there's a lot of things we need to keep talking about to keep improving, so our community can be stronger and get stronger. Because I think we should rely on each other.
yeah, that's like a little outer, like if you put our community in a bubble, like that's us interacting with, you know, outside community, which we have to do with other communities, but like we still have our own community, like so we got things to do too. So
let's just focus on us.
It's twofold. So we got to do both, and introspection within the community as a whole is just important, not more so.
So now we can just go ahead and transition to our people of the day. We can go ahead and go first.
I wanted to do today. I think the person of the day was G Herbo, Lil Herb, you know, Chicago rapper. He's big on mental health, and he's starting this little initiative. I think it's like a 6-week course, 12-week course, honestly, and it's free, like you said. It's expensive, and it's for young people, 18 and 25. You know, he's from Chicago. I'm sure people are familiar about, you know, the death rate and murder rate up there, and he has a lot of PTSD. He actually dropped an album called PTSD. I mean, personally, to me, he's one of the greatest. Not one of the greatest, but like for our recent generation, well, yeah, one of the greatest, like just storytellers. Like in his music, he's a storyteller. Like not only like he got all the lyrics and bars, or you know, he got the best flow, but like when he talks and like when he raps, I'm like I get it. Like I vividly see it. Like I can feel like what he's going through. And honestly, if you wanna give an album a spin.
Alright.
You know, listen to Humble Beast. I'm telling you, like, you'd be like, wow, people really going through that. Like, I mean, inner cities, like, things go on. And he was saying, right here it says that he was talking to his therapist, and he was saying stuff that she couldn't believe, and he was so nervous that he tore up his, I guess he had his ID card in his hand during the session, and he cracked it in half. Like, he was just so nervous, like, so, I mean, he's starting this initiative. It's supposed to, it says September 10th. So, I mean, shout out to him, man, you know, for talking about it, opening up with us in his music, opening up with us in interviews, opening up to therapy, starting his own initiative. So that's exciting to see, man, giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Giving back to the community, that's beautiful.
Definitely. And so, for me, this kind of shout out, recently somebody followed us. Name of Instagram is love.unscripted. That's their Instagram, and basically, he's a therapist himself. He's focused on relationships with millennials, but I also see like some mental health things on there. Like he has a lot of good quotes on there, and he's talking about like a lot of positive things that I think would be good to spend. Like we want to talk about, you know, keeping things in community and supporting like you know black brands or black businesses. I think it would be good, you know, to take a look at his Instagram. Also, I have a nonprofit called Our New Journey, and I'm focusing on kind of like these topics. Like I say, I'm going to school to be a psychologist, so if you guys ever want more information about that, or you know, if you want to help out in any way, you know, I'm also here.
Know somebody, just ask, let us know.
Because we're always trying to figure out solutions. So, but
I wanted to end with this quote. I found a quote.
One more thing, this is getting posted on our YouTube, but make sure you tap in.
Yeah, tap in.
Follow.
Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe
Make sure
on
you
YouTube.
shout us out for Instagram so we could.
Instagram, we'll go follow Instagram first. _Triumph Tribe. Again, it's _Triumph Tribe. So I want you guys to go follow that. I'm gonna leave y'all with this Chadwick Boseman quote that I like. It says, "I think you realize how much you need to have people that you love. It's not as much about them loving you. It's about you needing to love people." So, I gotta read that one more time. I think you realize how much you need to have people that you love. It's not as much about them loving you. It's about you needing to love people. I mean, love goes a long way and expressed in many different ways, and that's honestly a topic for another day.
Yeah, it's always another day. But yeah, there's definitely a powerful quote, and
So,
it's always
spread
good
love,
to sit
man.
with these. Yeah, spread love, and we'll figure out
Be
this
it,
stuff
embrace
together.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll see you next time.